Okay.
Yeah, so happy to be here, and I'm glad that you're um, pleased with Mary Jane's feedback.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get her into an actual call with everybody. She has a full-time job as a Montessori school teacher, but we can certainly leave her notes on the document, and then I can reach out and ask her to respond if for whatever questions. And then I've also had a conversation with her so I can clarify hopefully some of the questions around some of her comments around like metaphors and things like that, and some of her suggestions, noting that she wasn't really fully aware of like the evolution of the book, so I had to fill her in as much as I could around the fact that we're building one voice, right, out of multiple authors and etc. But yeah, so I'm here to support. And the other piece I want to just mention is that we had talked about a release date of February 14th.
Mm.
So I'm just a little concerned that we're going to run into some time issues, depending on how much deeper you want to take the manuscript. So we can chat about that as well, because we definitely need some time for the layout aspect and to resolve some of the design issues once the manuscript is done. And then time for planning the marketing and talking about that. So let's just keep that in mind too. You can fill me in on how you're feeling around finalizing the manuscript.
I just have one question. Did you get the email about the book cover?
Yeah, I did. So you want to pull that word together down below and turn it into 2 lines for the subtitle, right?
It felt like it grounded it. Like,
Sure.
how
Yeah.
did you have
Yeah,
a,
that's fine. We
okay.
can definitely do that. And I know, and there was something about adding a little shadow behind it to make it pop a little bit more,
Yeah.
you think? Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
people were asking about that. Yeah, people, everybody was asking about that. So,
Yeah. No problem. We can do that.
okay, great. Cool. Awesome. So, where do you want it? What do you feel is important for us to, I don't know how long we have you, so just what is the most important thing to talk about?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I guess I just wanted to be here to answer any questions that you may have had about any of the comments. So maybe if you want to go through the document, we can just sort of address any questions.
okay, sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we did really well with it. We just really went through the first six chapters, not just so that we can more deeply understand what she was talking about. And obviously some of the things it's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they were really incredible, and it felt like for us that oh, it was almost like we went, oh God, I wish we had her from the very beginning. It was like,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
know. I
okay,
was
we
so
trust
happy to have found her, somebody who actually understands like watersheds and, earth-based earth stewardship and things like that. I was really, really lucky.
okay, so let me
Yeah.
open this up and I mean, does anyone else want to bring up anything that's popping for you before we share this?
I'm all
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much to go through we could just skim through it and then just talk about more about going forward. And, obviously we're coming into Christmas, we're coming into New Year's, so that's all on the plate as well. And how much time uh, okay. All right. Can you guys all see this?
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty big. Okay. Okay, we already talked. Um, Okay, one of the things that kept coming up, and I think it might have just, she kept talking about harmonics and dowsing and wayfinding um, as metaphors. And I know we can weave it more into the story. So, is there anything well, yeah, you said let's chat about this today.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're looking at the book project as a whole, the wayfinding is like the overarching theme, right?
Yeah.
the waka and the water and the wayfinding metaphors. So one of the things that Mary Jean was suggesting was that sometimes it can be a little destabilizing for the reader if there's too many metaphors going on
Yeah.
inside of the complete project. So I think the thing that was tripping her up a little bit was just simply the harmonics, because the harmonics is a musical metaphor. And so, and the octaves and harmonics. And so I think that's something we can just chat about a little bit more about this system that you've created of the harmonic octaves and the attributes that go with that. And then feeling into, I feel like the concentric circle
Yeah.
visual is a little bit more useful than the chart, because then I could see them in relationship to each other,
Right.
how you're moving, starting here and moving out and expanding. So that's something we can work on, to how to visualize that so that it gets across everything that you want it to.
Right. And we already had talked about that and totally agree. I totally agree that my question is, and we knew that we had a lot of needed focus time on the harmonics to clean them up and make them simpler. And but
Mm-hmm.
what I'm wondering, and what we had talked about was if we have the concentric circle using the concentric circle, maybe even on when the first harmonic comes up, and
Mm-hmm.
and then in the 12th chapter, having that first, like that's the understanding of the concentric circle, then maybe just and we were definitely agreeable to bringing it down to 8. That doesn't have to be
Okay.
12 qualities. I mean,
Okay.
I think we were just tracking what was showing up, and then Nalasa came in and Deb did an amazing job of coming up with that. And I think if it was simpler with the concentric circle, it would make more sense. Um,
Yeah.
so if that's where we landed.
Okay. Great. So one of the things about these three harmonics, these three levels, is when we show the graphic, it can be a complete graphic, and we can focus in on the first part in the center and sort of gray out the outsides, but still have it be there so that the reader can see
Right.
the entire picture, but it focuses in on the part that you want them to see. Does that make sense? And then the next level, it would include that piece. And so maybe the outer ring would just be grayed out at that point. And then for the final presentation of the chart, all of it would be
I like that
100,
idea.
Yeah,
right?
that's a great idea. Yep.
So that it's all there. We know it's all there, but we're honing in on whichever part you're talking about in that section.
Okay, that's great. Definitely can do
That's a
that.
clever suggestion. Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, great.
The other thing that came to me is, we're talking about the whole analogy of waves and wayfinding, and we can explain harmonics as waves, right? So we can build that metaphor to cross over so that it isn't seen as two different phenomena. It's actually interconnected.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great, Tice.
that's really good. Love
Yep.
it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I think we're groovy on that part.
Okay.
And then I
Okay,
think,
this part about the voices. Okay. So the reason her feedback, she was under the understanding that like each of you wrote different parts.
right,
But then I verified for her, actually, it was a consensus building process. So it would be hard to pull one writer, one author out for this book, because you've worked on creating one voice. So I explained that to her and she understood that. So I think it's fine to leave it the way you've written it in one voice, and then to call out your specific pieces as separate authors, whether it's a quote or a particular uh specific piece that in which we can call out each of you specifically.
right. And then we can also do it with the quotes that we
Yeah.
have, right? That's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have a suggestion on that, where we have right at the beginning how to use this book, where we describe it in 3 parts, etc. If it was confusing for MJ, I'll call her. She's got the same name as me, but spelled differently.
Oh, right.
um, if it was confusing for her, then it might be confusing for the reader. So maybe we should actually be more explicit at that point that we are speaking as one voice.
I think that's helpful. Absolutely. Because
Okay.
you're modeling the whole idea of heart coherence and via the way you've produced the writing. So I think it's interesting to be very clear about that with the reader. Here's how we created this. Here's our intention. We've all contributed and built consensus and come into, heart coherence along the way and practiced the attributes of the harmonics.
Mm.
Okay. Yep, that's awesome. Okay, got that one. Cool. Okay, considering opening the stories with a quote,
I think that's a good idea if that makes sense to you. If it flows, and if it's you could pull in an individual quote from each of you as authors in that way, or it could be a quote from somebody who was involved in the case study.
yeah, I mean, a quote can lead people into the story as long as it's not too much, because we have quotes other places, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to be careful about that. But yeah, we can definitely look at that.
Okay.
And then she was asking us about evolutionary dowsing, and so amazing. I had a dream and I woke up at 2 a.m. writing down like I totally got it. It was like, oh, we really never have defined that. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
okay, that's great. We
Yeah.
can
Really good idea. We
okay.
want to make it so simple that anybody picking up this book can understand, even if it takes them a while for it to land. At least they're reading, here's
Right.
our definition, here's where we're going, here's where we're starting, and here's where we're going.
Okay, so we already talked about the 3 concentric circles. And then we're also looking at what words to capitalize. So we
Yeah.
started to make a list, and
Okay.
so that's pretty clear. All right. And would you just, as far as at what point, so in terms of the praise, and obviously you have to sit, that's a point where you would send people basically the unfinished main.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
When is that? When would be the right
well, we
time?
need to give ourselves, we need to give the reader 2 to 3 weeks to actually read it and provide the endorsement, the
Yeah,
testimonial. So I would say as soon as you're ready with this pass,
right.
let's make a PDF out of it, and I'll put on there unedited review copy, do not share. And the reason we say unedited is that we don't want them to be nitpicky about
Right.
grammar. We just want them to read it and give an honest review.
Okay.
So then we need to add those into the manuscript and into the design. So I would say we need to do this pretty quickly, is send out
Okay.
that edited review copy.
Okay. That's
And to to the people that you feel are going to, somebody who would have a decent platform or a following, somebody whose quote we could put on the back cover,
yeah.
who would have like the largest sort of presence in that way, if possible. And
Yeah.
then also other, students, colleagues, people who've worked with you.
Yeah.
They also don't have to read the whole thing cover to cover. So we can
I don't
say,
think anyone ever does.
right,
They
right.
just scan it, they read the intro and they read a little bit more, but nobody reads the whole book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we don't
that's
have to give them the whole thing. We could give them a sampling. We could give them the front stuff and then maybe 3 of the voyages or something.
okay.
It's really, it's up to you.
Okay. All right. So here's my thought about this, and then anyone else who wants to jump in is, we're coming around Christmas. So the reality is it should be ready to go to someone by the first, like the 2nd of January. That's how I feel. I don't want to give anyone anything before Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So really, so if we can work on this and come up with something ready to go by, January 2nd, that first week, right?
Yeah, that's great. We should,
Okay.
no problem. And there's two ways we could do it. If the book is, if we can get this formatted first and then send them the design PDF,
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
that's great. But if not, that's okay. We can just put the cover on there and let it be the Google Doc,
Okay.
a clean copy of the Google Doc with, that would be like downloaded as a Word doc and then attached to their email
Okay.
without any comments or anything on there.
Okay.
So it's okay if it's not designed by the time we send that out, but it would be nice if they could see us what it's going to look like.
Okay. Anybody? You guys all good? Speak up
Yeah.
if you want to stop me.
That's so good.
Okay. So, and we can look for photos for each part. There's something that's bothering me, and I know we brought it up with us. Now here, it's not here. Oh yeah, we just so that you know, we all want to get rid of the call to action as a something that you would read, unless you have some better idea. And my understanding was to stick a call to action somewhere, at least 3 places in the book, and obviously one is the end, but
Yeah.
it's done in a way that's not so call to action, so
gotcha.
unless you
Yeah.
have another idea, you know,
I think that's fine. Remind me again of what the call to action says. What is it that you want them to do?
well, I thought you were the one who brought it up. I think I asked it as a question way, way, way back, but it's more like, they're reading the book and, you know, just click, connecting them to a web page or connecting
Yeah.
them to maybe we have an extra page that is free resources so that they,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. Great
Right.
idea. So if you want to drive them, if you want to invite them to the website so that they can opt in and get the free resources, that's a great idea because then you can grow the email list that way. It can go, I've done it where it's on the copyright page at the bottom for free resources, visit blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you could repeat it, like you said, a few times, maybe after each part or something at the end. So that they are aware, and then to maybe tell them, well, what are the resources, give them some clue around what it is that you want to give them as a gift, as a supplementary piece for this. Maybe it's like a designed PDF of the harmonics.
Right. Yeah,
That could be
definitely.
cool.
Right. Something like that, or they can download the Sacred Golden Ray Attunement or whatever we're calling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's and we could make a new one of that. So anyway,
Yeah.
yes, just those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah. So that would be something to then figure out pretty quickly so that we can get that text into the manuscript, and then we can work on creating that, whatever it's going to be. And then you can get that into the back end of the website where they would go.
The website? That's another whole conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this was just asking her to meet with her. And we understand the evolutionary dowsing. That's just a sentence fragment. I think that's probably most of, this picture, which is really a cool picture. I don't know. This is on the Government of New Zealand media page. Can you use something like that?
You would need to reach out to them,
Okay.
send them an email and ask them permission.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We probably won't use that one, but I think that was just her. So she's asking here, is this still the transcript? But this was like the first, we haven't really made this totally clear. This is just the introduction, obviously, for preparing the voyage. And I think we need to make it clearer about this is a heart resonance opening that this is an example of a heart resonance opening.
Yeah, yeah,
We,
okay.
we did, we've done that at the beginning of, when we talk about the parts, and we've said there's a heart resonant opening at the beginning of each part. We've said that how to read this book, but you're saying to repeat that here in this section beforehand, because originally we were just having the heart resonant opening on its own, but then that evolved into, no, we need some sort of lead in to what it is.
Um, I think in what relation to what you're saying, Naj, that I think that's why she's confused. If it just said just foundational principle and tools for embracing heart resonance, we don't have this welcome family, blah, 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 and just have I think that would be way clearer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's that first paragraph there that
Right.
is confusing.
Um,
Yeah. The other thing too, when you're speaking to the reader directly, is to speak to one reader.
okay.
Imagine it's just one person on the other side that you're speaking to, not a group.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I like that. It's very clear. Start by opening your breath, and it's in italics, so they know it's an instruction for them to get grounded and to come into presence.
Okay, good. We'll get rid of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Nalasa has been taking the pictures and making them black and white.
Okay.
Um, okay, this
Yeah,
is
that's good.
a big, we have to clean this up because she's asking us to basically move this, as far as I'm understanding, or we're understanding, she's asking us to put this section earlier in the book
Mm-hmm.
so that it's clearer, and we all agreed with that. So that's
But it's
Okay.
already in voyage one. How much earlier can you have it?
well, I understand what she's talking about. It's just some of the information. So,
I
uh,
think, yeah, in the introduction and how to use this book,
yeah, and it
I
even,
think you could even repeat it there. It's okay to repeat it
but I
so
also
that
think
it's needed.
right, and it could also go in front of creation of the SED, like understanding the evolution of dowsing could come before the creation of the SED. I don't know. We'd have to look at it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, well, we're going to look at that. Okay, this is just, okay, and she's just asking us to move some stuff, so that's something that we are looking at.
Okay.
And I think I'm kind of thinking, this is all just basic, this is a little redundant. So, and then we have to work on these. But so so are you feeling to, like, let's just say these were 8.
Yeah.
And so first octave of the 3 harmonic, we would have, so basically, I think it would be might be interesting when we say first harmonic octave, and this is where the diagram goes first.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
the diagram first. Yeah.
And this is kind of, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is sort of what I was thinking in terms of showing the relationship from one octave to the next and the growth outward. If you just,
Okay, I'm going to stop you're going to show us something. I just want to,
yeah,
hold on. Let me just change the view.
maybe then the word is here, here, here. Okay, so you kind of get the gist of this idea of the center, and the 8 points are the 8 attributes, I guess.
So where
And
are the 8 points? Just point to where you're seeing.
so like right around these points around the inner circle here.
Um, Oh, I see. So
Right.
we just see it as points and then the chart explains it. Is
But you
that
could we can put the words in here, like next to the point
ah,
or on the line, so that the words, so that we understand what the 8 attributes are for the center, for the first harmonic,
but
right?
I'm not saying where there's enough room to put anything.
Well,
Have to
I
be
mean,
on
it
the
would have to
basis.
be, it, I guess if maybe you can explain to me a little bit how the 3, it's like nesting dolls, right?
Right.
So how do the 3 harmonics fit inside of each other? And do any of the attributes carry from one to the next?
Yeah, so hold on. Let me just show you 1 second. All right, coming back here. So, but this is where it gets really clear. Sorry, right here. Okay. Whoops, didn't keep going. Okay. So here's where the 3 come together. All
Okay.
right. So imagine that there's only 8, or we can cut this down. So
Yeah.
so it's the same. So when you're in the first, let's just say the first one, when you're in the first harmonic octave, it's the attribute is expressing gratitude, and then that when you come into connection with the earth heart resonance, there's a level of joy, and then in radical earth heart resonance, it's an actual experience of embodying the love, or
Okay.
so
Yeah.
each one has so it's an expansion. So heart resonance with self, heart attuning with the intelligence of nature becomes a second octave. The third is you're in full flow, full immersion flow. So these words are a little bit way long, they can be shorter.
Okay.
So that's how that,
So if we look at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, my diagram's not so good, but the idea being the initiatory feeling. Oops, I lost it. Where'd it go?
no, I did it. I thought you were going to pop up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to sketch in here. So the initiatory feeling would be here, and then somatic awareness would be here, and then depth of openness, and then attuning.
But it might be like instead of initiatory feeling, it just could be feeling.
Feeling,
What's the
yeah. And then
feeling?
feeling leads into expressing. Maybe there's actually 4 rings. So then feeling is expressing, and then it's experiencing, and then it's embodying. Okay, so, all right. So now if you look here,
Oops. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
okay, so like the 8 points are in the center, and then they sort of fan out across the 3 levels. And that's where we can put the words inside those sections.
So the center is just the center, actually. Then and then and
Yeah,
then
the center
and
is
then
like the attribute, and then how the expression of the attribute can go into each of the rings. Does that make sense?
it does. It just feels like it's going to be way too complicated to look at. Like I think if the center was just the center, and
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. And then maybe there's
Yeah,
a
then maybe it's just the 3
yeah.
expressing, embodying, maybe it's that feeling. Okay, so like if you look at this, see the word feeling
Whoops.
could cross all 3, and then the 3 separate attributes are in each level.
Okay.
Something like that.
And maybe the center is just the heart of.
Yeah, maybe the center is
Heart
actually
resonance would be in the center, just the words heart resonance.
heart resonance. Yeah. So then feeling,
Well,
Unless you want the
no.
heart.
I don't know. I'm thinking it's really gonna look like really. I get that we're making it simpler,
Well,
but
excuse me, could you do 3 different rings? You'd show a picture of all of it together,
yeah,
whole, with,
yeah.
with probably just a small word, then take it one by one and make one circle of this is 1, 2, 3. You'd have
Yeah.
three different
Why don't
diagrams,
I try
one
to
for each.
visualize this, and I'll share it with you, and you can give
okay.
me some feedback.
Okay,
Because what I can do is the overarching, like the slice of the pie that goes across all three rings would be feeling, and then each ring would represent that aspect of that harmonic. Then the next slice of the pie would be somatic, right? And then the three things that represent the somatic. So I'll try to visualize it and see, because the initial feeling, the somatic, those are the overarching
we have to, right, qualities or the
quality.
attributes.
So that would be like the big word faded back behind the three rings. And then we could see how they would fit. I'll try to visualize it and see if I can.
So
And then,
we have to make this small, we have to cut this down first for you, like just take a,
Yeah. So if you cut down the attributes to 8,
right.
then it would be like a pie with 8 slices with divided into 3. Each piece of pie would have 3 sections.
So then we're still sticking with, so the first, the first harmonic octave, which is heart resonance, would have a circle with these 8 attributes singularly, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't all come together until the end. It would be a full-on,
So like we can show the whole thing, and like I said, kind of gray out the outside where you don't want them to focus. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it and see.
okay, you can play with it and we'll think about it too, because we
Yeah.
already know that we had like a couple of days of just focusing on this. This is where it all gets pulled together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so coming back here. And I think that's really the biggest issue. I think from here we can just, so there's the first harmonic octave. And we can get rid of these or make just a paragraph of these essential actions, whatever that was added.
Yeah.
pretty
And for the
recently.
attributes, maybe like you said, just a simple word, like if the overarching attribute is feeling, and then the 3 separate ones inside of that would be just simple words, right? As opposed to
Right.
phrases, maybe.
Right. Okay. And as far as the pictures, Astara, so I mean, some of them are getting put into the book.
Yeah.
Like, do you still want them? I think I sent them to you as separate. Didn't I send you?
Yeah. So the way we will need them is in the manuscript as you're showing, so we know where they go.
Yeah.
And then a folder with all of the actual photographs shared with us so that we can do what we need to do to the art when we're putting the book together.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's okay if Nalasa doesn't make them all black and white or do the prep on the photos, because we can handle that too if for some reason.
I don't know. Yeah, she just started to do it. Okay. Okay, that's the capitalization. I think we can shift, because I think that the really the conversation about the harmonics is the biggest one. And
Yeah.
the rest we can the rest is just stuff for us to do. So I think at this point we went through the most important items.
I feel like too that harmonics chart can be as big as a whole page in the book.
Yeah, I
Oh.
agree.
Okay.
Right. So that way, here's the text and then here's the chart. So it's nice and big. We can see what's going on in there. We understand the flow. And then we can repeat that visual and fade out the outer rings until we get to them. Right.
Okay, we can definitely take a look at that. And so basically we're going to get rid of the square chart.
I think so. Yeah. Because it's not really showing the relationship in a
And
way
we
that
should think of it
feels.
as a poster too, that people can get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it could
definitely.
be a printable so that people remember
Yeah, a
and can
book.
work with it. Yeah.
Um,
I think it'll be a really good tool.
it's going to be
Really
amazing
good tool.
when we clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all here. Just a matter of how we're going to visualize it. But I think I'll work on that.
Okay, so do you want to talk about so we talked about the book cover. We never did really see another back cover. But I didn't, do we?
That's coming. We really just need to
Okay,
get the manuscript done
okay,
and
great,
get
okay,
that, and then we can get all of the workflow working in terms of
okay,
the finalizing the cover, design, the back cover copy, getting
okay,
the manuscript formatted,
okay,
getting the review copy out so we can get those testimonials and add them to the inside of the book and possibly one to the back cover.
yeah,
And then talking about our plan for marketing and promoting when it comes to the launch.
okay. And would our plan for marketing happen in January, like that first week in January? Same thing? When do you see that conversation?
Yeah, it's basically going to be what we'll give you is like an email template to send out to your people.
Yeah,
So we want to put together an email about the book. We want
yeah,
to put together social media posts describing, inviting people to go purchase the book and graphics. So we can use the book cover and maybe some other kinds of visuals there. We I'm not sure we would want to actually put like the harmonics chart on a social media post because that's not going to make any sense to anybody.
not yet. Anyway, not yet. That would have.
Yeah, yeah. And then pictures of you on graphics of all of you and so
Okay.
to kind of brainstorm a little bit about the themes and the visuals.
Okay. And we talked about, I'm kind of still nudging here for a short video, like a little,
Yes.
okay,
Yep. I think we can definitely do that with the book cover, with pictures of you all and pictures of the sites where the dousing has happened,
mhm.
and have like a um kind of like a slideshow, but not.
Mhm.
Yeah, something intriguing and something,
Yeah, yeah. And pull some text that is really succinct and powerful,
okay,
about radical earth art, radical earth art resonance and stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the financial piece. Curious, like what are you thinking and when are you thinking in terms of what we're doing and when?
Well, I'm still not convinced we're going to make the February date, depending on how much more work you're going to do to the manuscript. So, what are you thinking in terms of that? Like, how
Um,
much more time do you want?
I think I mean, I think we need probably another at least 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks. So to take us to the beginning, really more than likely till like the beginning of January to have this
Yeah. Okay.
done. Let's say we had it done by January 2nd or 1st or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Um,
So, if we publish the book February, February on Valentine's Day, right? That was the idea.
I know it's pretty tight.
It's we would want to have the final payment like at the beginning of February. But if we need to push it back a month, then we can push back that final payment too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so we could push it back to March and then like maybe March 1st,
I have a question because as I've understood, I'm not saying I'm correct. Oh, go ahead, Naj. Naj, why don't you just speak up?
It's not adding up because if we are ready by by the beginning of January, we want to give 3 weeks, you said, for the readers for the praise. So that takes us to the end of January. Then we've got to do our marketing kind of stuff, which we can be preparing in between time, but we've still got to do it. So
Yeah.
it's not adding up to the 14th of February. So I'm just being practical here.
Yeah. I think it would probably be smart for us to push it out a month. That way we can just give ourselves a little breathing room there.
Okay, so I have a really big question because this is just my little bit of learning that the best times for publications are obviously Christmas, Valentine's Day, and Mother's Day. And actually, Mother's Day is like the main, like it's a really big time for publishing
Uh-huh.
um, and marketing. And, where this whole book is about the Mother Earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering,
Is that in May? When is Mother's Day?
I don't know when the next Mother's,
Varies around the world. We have it in May here.
No, it's always in May.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Usually it's like May, let's see here out of curiosity. Um, and I'm just, you might not, you might say that's not really true.
Well, my perspective on that is every holiday is
May
an
11th, May
May
11th.
11th. Okay. Every holiday is an opportunity to sort of market based on that holiday. So if it's a book about love, then Valentine's Day, then you can say on this day, which represents love, go get our book, right? However, there's also going to be more competition on those holidays because everybody thinks that way. So I actually don't think it's a big deal I don't think you have to attach it to a holiday, actually.
Or it could come out before and then we can reiterate
Yeah.
it for the next.
Yeah, yeah.
21st of March is the equinox. I like to go with
That's a good,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I usually release books on a new moon or a full moon also, and not during Mercury retrograde and not
Yeah,
during
we'll just
an eclipse.
check out those. Yeah.
So I love the idea of the solstice. I think that could be really exciting. Um, that to me is a little bit more resonant than like other Hallmark holidays, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
It's an
okay,
equinox, not a
okay.
solstice.
I'm going to
Or
actually say
equinox, yeah.
something. March 14th is the full moon. And March 14th and April, and I'm going to tell you why about the full moon. Hold on one second. The bright moon, that's April 12th. So just I want to like come in and actually ask because this book, the consortium was conceived on the full moon. Like it was, no, it was birthed on the full moon, not conceived. And always, anytime I've started it, it's very clear full moon.
Yeah.
Um, now, and that's the bright moon. Um, so I just want to be, I like the idea of the solstice, but really the way the Waitaha, the way it came to me was like that is the ultimate time where, and if you were writing a book, that's when you write during the 10 days before and the 10 days after. But always that's how the whole thing started. So it might be really important to honor that and that it's done on a full moon.
You can also, if you want to create an event around the launch, which I would recommend, this is part of the marketing strategy, right? Create a virtual event. Maybe it's a full moon ceremony to celebrate the launch.
That would be
And
amazing.
invite everybody to come. It's free. They can come. It can be a flow that you can all participate in and just build momentum and excitement for the launch and have people go purchase the book from there. So
Okay, well, we can talk more about it. So I
yeah,
was like didn't want to be in resistance to what you were saying, Naj, but I also wanted to like really honor the field of what the way this has worked from the get-go. I don't know. And actually, it's probably pretty cool because even though it's getting a little late, but I want to open the consortium in January. So, and people are already kind of lining up for it. And who said something? Oh, Mary Jean. Is that her name, Mary Jean?
uh-huh.
She's working at a Montessori school
Mm-hmm.
and she
Yeah,
just read this book. I
yeah,
might, I don't know if I'm a lot, like if I could speak with her. Um,
yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, I can connect you with her.
yeah,
Yeah,
it might be more difficult to get us all on the same time, but if I could speak to her, I would really like that in terms
yeah,
of,
yeah. She's a young woman. I think she's probably in her 20s or maybe
ah,
early 30s.
uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
She's,
yeah. So if you can shoot me her
yep.
number, maybe I can just see if I can grab a 10-minute call with her or something.
Yeah, yeah. Let me send her an email
Yeah.
and just, ask if that's okay and then I can connect you.
Well, the weird thing was in the editing, she like 2 or 3 times she said, let's talk about this together. Let's talk about this together.
Yeah, yeah,
We've never seen that. So that was what I was wanted to ask you. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
no.
And this is
Um,
who we're trying to to write this for is for the next generations.
Yeah,
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 it'd be nice if we could all meet her, if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible or not.
yeah. It's just a scheduling issue, I think. So let me see what I can do about that. And I'll send her an email and ask her. Uh, usually it's what days are you meeting now?
Tuesdays and Fridays, but we're going to do a marathon day. But if it was something that she was interested and was willing, and if she told us what her schedule was, we could maybe do a little rearranging.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah. So, okay. So then we'll shoot for the manuscript back in our hands like January 2nd-ish.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a review copy done at that point, and then it's going to go back into editing. Probably not Mary Jean, but more of a proofreading
Right.
pass. And then we'll be able to format it once it goes through the proofreader. Then we'll format it, and then you'll have it again as a PDF to read and review and give us your approval before we upload the
Okay.
book.
Yeah, that's going to be
Sounds good.
yeah. Yay.
Yay!
Exciting.
So we're getting there.
We're getting there, almost there.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Astara.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's been it's a labor of love, of course, right?
And it's so kind and
But I
so
think that this book has really come to a place where it's ready. I feel like it's ready. It's just a few more tweaks, and when you hold it in your hands, you're going to feel so amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me know if you need anything else. I'll work on that concentric circle chart, and then we can maybe use email or whatever, go back and forth about that a little bit. You can give me some feedback, or
Yeah.
you know,
And if you could get me or get us the front cover, like that's as close as we can. And I believe we're going to be pretty good. We all, I'm like, no more change.
yeah, it's fine. These are just
Yeah.
very subtle tweaks. It's no problem at all to do
Okay.
these little
So if you could do that, because I would like to get that up on the website and just, again, people can put that on there. I think I think this is it, because that to me, like, and it was an interesting thing after my experience in Portugal. It was the night that I got back here, and all of a sudden, because of the transmutation that I went through with the singing the sacred bowl and grounding, and all of a sudden I kept looking at that, going, what is it? And then all of a sudden it was such a clear download. Just put it underneath, and it'll just ground it.
yeah.
And I think then because that second line, the first line says restoring blah, blah, blah with earth, then it makes it more understood that that image has something to do with earth, because
Mhm.
a lot of people that I've showed it to look at it and they don't get earth. But that I realized, if that line is right underneath it, then it just,
Yeah.
it's the energy, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll get you a revised cover. I'll work on the chart. You'll get the manuscript where you want it to be. And I'll reach out to Mary Jean and see if she can hook up with you all before January, or as soon as possible, actually, and see what her schedule looks like.
Okay. Thank you. Much
Okay.
love.
All right. Much love. Have a
Talk
great
to
evening.
you. Yeah,
Bye.
bye. Okay, so am I shutting off the recording right now? That's funny.